Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we are going to rank all 26 existing 800 CCF tier 3s, of which I actually still have 25 of. That's right. 4 months ago I made this video. We're back 4 months later. The meta has changed quite a bit, but one thing has stayed constant. I still have not tier 3'd Spider-Man, so the meme goes on. The meme goes on until he gets a new uniform that makes him very good. But in the meantime, so just to recap, since November, the 4th of November, remember, the 5th of November, anyways, the Gunpowder Treason Plot, we've had 4 new tier 3s. So it hasn't actually been that many tier 3s that have released since that last video. So you're thinking, well, what's going on? So we got Rogue, we've got Loki, we've got Carnage, who we, at the time when I made this video, we weren't sure if he was going to come out as a tier 3, so we didn't know how good he was going to be. This was right before the Carnage mid-month in the symbiote update. And then, of course, we also got Loki and Daredevil. I think I said Loki, but then we got Daredevil. But we also got a new uniform for Thor, which basically transformed him into a brand new tier 3. So this list is going to re-slot 4 new tier 3s, essentially 5 new tier 3s if you include Thor, because he's basically transformed into a brand new character. On my previous list, Thor was like 22nd out of 22nd or 21st out of 25 tier 3s. He was terrible. He was in the bottom 5 with, like, you know, Black Panther and Spider-Man. But obviously he's much better now. So we want to reestablish his power level in the game. But on top of that, we have not only the knowledge that Null is much better content than he was at the time, because when I made the video, Null hadn't been out for very long, and there were no guaranteed CCF rewards. So I was like, why am I going to play Null? So the value of Null really wasn't there, so justifying building up tier 3s, 800 CCF tier 3s for Null wasn't there. And then, of course, Mephisto wasn't there either. He's here now, which not only boosts the value of 800 CCF tier 3s, who can take him down easily, but also boosts the value of speed tier 3. So we're going to jump into that and talk about that. Standard disclaimer with all of these videos, this is just my personal opinion. You can feel free to tier 3 whoever you want. We have more than enough characters in this game, 239, and we have so many reworked characters that you can really conquer this game with almost any character. Not quite any character, but almost any character. So, you know, you can still do the majority of the content with tier 3 Spider-Man if you really want. You're just not going to have the best time possible. So we're going to go through the bottom list much more rapidly, just because the last video was 20 minutes. And there's just not anything new to say about these characters. So unfortunately, yes, Black Panther is still at the bottom, number 26. But the good thing about being the worst is that when you get your glow up, it's going to feel that much better. So fingers crossed, we're getting the Wakanda DLC sometime later this year for Marvel's Avengers. Hopefully, Marvel Future Fight and other games will, you know, pay homage to Black Panther and the legacy of Chadwick Boseman, and rest in power, and you know, completely revamp that character, because one of the characters that is most deserving in the game, like his power level compared to the comics is just astronomically low. He really needs that Hulk level or Rogue level glow up. Coming in at number 25, similar to Black Panther, is Ant-Man. I know I mentioned that Mephisto is Blast, which makes speed types even better. However, Ant-Man just doesn't cut it. He doesn't cut the cheese. No accumulation, no self buffs, really nothing that can make him anything near a meta tier 3 in this day and age. And his one shtick was PvP. That was like a year and a bit ago. He gets spanked now. Lots of characters have ignore dodge, and he just can't even survive to get to the ignore dodge, to get to the guaranteed dodge, because so many characters have iframe ignore, right? You could hide in the 5 cancel 4 against Jean Grey. You're not hiding from Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Sentry. Oh yeah, all those characters have iframe ignore now. So yeah, you're just not hiding from that. Coming in at number 24, similarly, Spider-Man, still one of the best sort of tier 2 teams, not like a top tier 1 team, but like a tier 2 team for Alliance Conquest with Spider-Woman and like Spider-Gwen or whatever, but just not that good for the vast majority of content. Coming in at number 23 is Winter Soldier. I actually moved him down. I originally had him a little bit higher than Iron Man because of his leadership, but we have enough physical leaderships, and the leadership is not actually as important for Null as I originally thought. You can definitely get by without ever having to use Winter Soldier, so that value is just not there at all for now. Again, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Disney Plus. We could be seeing another video of this kind in a few months when he's going to be amazing, but for now, he's just really not. He's not the Winter Soldier. He's the cryogenic soldier. Coming in at number 22, we have Iron Man, just a little bit above Winter Soldier. Not too much to say. Not a strong character for any individual content. He can do some things that are cool. He's not useless, but he's going to be vastly outperformed by characters in the rest of the list. Coming in at number 21, we have our first fully paywall character. This is Crescent. They just haven't hit the mark with her uniform, and yeah, basically she's not good. She's only there for the leadership, and remember, her leadership is only combat types, so it's not very worthwhile, especially now when you look at Mephisto being Blast. Combat types are going to suffer, so I really would hesitate heavily before tiering 3 in Crescent. The only value Crescent had was for ABX 4 months ago, but now she has been completely obliterated and replaced by X-23, Valkyrie, and to a lesser extent, Jessica Jones Jewel. 3 female combat types. So she has 0 value for any content besides being a leadership. That's it, period. Unfortunately. Yeah, I know. Coming in at number 20, we have Captain America. Just hasn't gotten any better and just continues to fall behind in terms of what we expect from characters, and still has the worst, not damage wise, but the worst, played tier 3 in the game. It's the hardest to pull off. It's the hardest to make work, whereas every other character, you just press the tier 3 and you're good. You got to do some thinking, you got to do some strategizing and some planning with Cap, and that's what hurts his value in the long run, because these buffs are good. Coming in at number 19, we have Storm. Now, this is the first character that dropped dramatically from the last ranking to this ranking. She really just cannot keep up, not only movement speed wise, like she's really slow despite being able to control the elements. She really should be able to just put some wind behind her and like dip, and she should be one of the fastest characters in the game, but that's not the case in MFF. So yeah, we got to deal with that. Super slow movement speed, 0 survivability. Against Mephisto, she just gets chewed up with a bunch of hits, no heal, and the damage can't keep. It's good, it just can't keep up with high level characters for endgame content. She can do World Boss Ultimate well, but that's really where it stops. Now, before we get into the rest of these characters, the top 18, I'm not trying to really talk up the top 18, but the top 15. Honestly, the top 15 800 CCF tier 3s are all really good. So don't sweat it if you tier 3 any of these characters, because they all have use. The bottom like 8 that I just rattled off, or what, 7, they're kind of suspect in terms of their value, but the top 15, it gets very heated. Like the difference between these characters starts to get very, very small once you get into the top 15. But anyways, let me get to the top 15 before I say any more. Coming in at number 17, we have Cyclops, or 18, sorry, Cyclops. Cyclops, very, very good leadership, very, very good passive. He could actually be higher, to be honest, if you really need a passive. It kind of sucks to spend all the resources to get him tier 3, so hopefully if there is going to be a tier 3 selector for this year's anniversary in a month and Cyclops is available, maybe pick him so you don't have to spend the resources, but you get a really good leadership and support. I mean, he's so flexible because he applies to all allies and it's all attack. It's literally the most flexible leadership in the game. And then if you're an energy attacker, you get an extra 30, right? He's not bad on his own. Again, not great. He's good for World Boss Invasion and co-op for that one shot, but he's the best. He's the best leadership / support because of that flexibility for basically any game mode. Coming in at number 17, unfortunately, we do have Captain Marvel. She's fallen off. She's basically only used now in ABX. So she could actually be much lower on this list if you don't care about ABX. She may have some value in Alliance Conquest, to be honest with you, but outside of Conquest and ABX, she basically has no value. And she just basically, can't do endgame content. No heal, not enough damage, surprisingly to say, but yeah, she fell off pretty hard compared to some of these other characters. Coming in at number 16, a little bit ahead of Captain Marvel, is actually Magneto. Now, Magneto's not necessarily as good as Captain Marvel for ABX, but his leadership is amazing, and there's lots of strong mutants, and there's more coming. And if I did like a 1200 CCF, you got Cable, Transcended characters, you got Gambit, etc. So the mutants are getting stronger and stronger, so his leadership always has value. And then he's actually not bad for Null and Mephisto. He's got accumulation on his 5th skill. He's actually not bad. He kind of hits. He hits hard. He struggles on survivability, but he hits hard, so he can be like a secondary attacker for you. Come in, do some burst damage, and switch out. And then he's an amazing leadership. So yeah, Magneto's number 16. Now we jump into the top 15. Here we go. At number 15, we've got Star-Lord. You get him through the Epic Quest, so he's actually a little bit less than 800 CCF, and he needs this grounded uniform, but he is solid. He's actually better for Null than I originally thought, in part because the Wingman passive gives him all these buffs, and then the Milano passive gives him 40% guaranteed dodge. So if you have an energy on him, although it's very hard to play, he might not even need ignore dodge strikers. But yeah, he's got burst damage, he's got AoE, he's got a very straightforward rotation, and he's surprisingly tanky despite not having a heal. He just doesn't get hit that much. He's in iframes, he's invincibility, immunity. He just kind of has a mix of everything. He's not a character that's going to blow your socks off, but he's very solid, and he brings a lot of things to the team. He brings the leadership, but he also brings solid, mid-level DPS. Just a little bit better than I'd say than Magneto, and a little bit easier to play because of his rotation. Coming in at number 14, we have the largest single score drop from the last time I made this video, and this one is a little bit tragic. Say a little prayer for Black Widow. I know some of you guys are going to get at me for this one. You're going to say that her ranking is way too low, but here's the thing. Black Widow was hurt the most by the introduction of Sentry. And then beyond Sentry, the introduction of all of these characters that have iframe ignore. She just cannot compete in any avenue in PvP anymore. All of these characters need to be banned, because even if you just ban Sentry and Silver Surfer and Hulk, now you still have got Daredevil. He's got a counterattack with iframe ignore, so he can counter while she's iframe ignoring and hit her back and one-shot her. He's got way more HP than she does. Look, she's got 44,000. I actually can't show you because he's got a regen, but anyways, he's tankier than she is. And then if it's not her, Luke Cage has iframe ignore, and he's combat type, and he's got physical reflect. So, she's been punished the most by the emergence of new PvP threats. And that was really what made her so good, is she could do PvP and PvE with the same build. Now, she could still do PvE and PvP with the same build, but she can't really do Null, to be honest. She doesn't go very high against Null. And despite being a speed type, she's not very good at all against Mephisto because she doesn't do enough damage. She can't apply all defense down. She doesn't have accumulation. Or if she has accumulation, she does have accumulation, but it's just not that good. And also, she doesn't have enough of a heal. She has a heal on her dodge with the white suit, but it's just not enough to keep her up, and so she dies. So yeah, she really took a hit, but she comes in just below number 13, which is Immortal Hulk. Now, Immortal Hulk's still very good for PvP. That hasn't changed. His ranking only changed because other better characters have come in for PvE, and PvE is just more important in MFF than PvP, because really PvP is just 2 game modes: Timeline Battle, Alliance Conquest. Hulk wasn't very good for Null at all. Obviously going to be even worse for Mephisto because he's a combat type, so he's really just suffering right now. He really just needs to wait for us to get a speed World Boss Legend. If we're going to get a speed World Boss Legend, that's an asterisk there. But if we do, he might re-emerge as a PvE threat, but right now it's just PvP for him, so I really can't put him any higher than 13th, because it's really just Timeline Battle and Alliance Conquest. Coming in at number 12, he did struggle with Null, and we figured out it was the elemental thing. Namor has definitely lost value. ABX, he can still do a couple of things, but you got Carnage, you got Apocalypse, you've got Venom, and they're all doing, and you got Moon Knight, of course, all doing things as well or better than him. So he really doesn't have anything that makes him stand out. He may be better in the future when he gets a uniform. We'll have to wait and see if he goes back to just doing physical damage rather than elemental. But right now, yeah, he just can't pull his weight more than he was before, so he's just being pushed down by better, stronger, newer characters. Coming in at number 11, I mean, these characters are still really good. I just can't highlight all of their positives, so I'm just pointing out what doesn't make them better than other characters, but they're still really good characters. Anyway, coming in at number 11, Professor X. I also dropped him quite a bit. He's okay for Null, he's okay for Mephisto, he's got a heal, he can sustain, he's got accumulation, he's got iframes, but he was pushed out completely from ABX by Cable, so he's basically got no business being there anymore. So it's basically just World Boss Legend. If his leadership was better, if it was better than 20% from mutants, maybe he could be higher on this list, but he has no PvP value, he's got no squad battle value, so he's really just limited to the World Boss Legend stuff. He's amazing for World Boss Ultimate, don't get me wrong. When he can apply the all resist down and that mine resist, he crushes Ebony like he's a paper can. Paper can? You get what I'm saying. But yeah, he's just kind of so-so in the World Boss Legends for now, so he can't really crack the top 10. Coming in top 10, first new entry, we got the man Loki. Not quite as good as maybe we would have hoped in the end, but still very, very good. Quirky playstyle. The only thing holding him back from being higher on this list is the heal. He has no heal, which does definitely hurt his stock. You have to play super well. You have to be super careful. And as you can see, on top of not having a heal, he's got a super low HP stat. 35,000 HP is criminally low. So that really is what's going to sort of hold him back from this this kind of content where other characters are performing well. But he's still top for Universal Villain ABX along with Null. And if you can be, near Null's value for any sort of content, then you're definitely worth something. So he can definitely hit hard, and he has a really fun playstyle, but he's just held back from anything further than the top 10. Coming in at number 9, you're going to be surprised by this one. I've definitely changed my opinion on Black Bolt. His stock has risen in my opinion. He's got the healing, he's got the debuff immunity, he's got the self-buffing leadership, he's got the total package. He really does have the total package. He can be a little bit hard to play at times. He can get frustrating to play because sometimes Fury of the Midnight King gets interrupted, which is really annoying. The targeting on the skill, kind of like Sharon Rogers tier 3. But he does definitely have what it takes to take down top-end content, and he is definitely a valuable character who's just going to get stronger as more Inhumans come out, because there's always going to be the best leadership for them, a la Mr. Fantastic, etc. So yeah, solid character with a very beautiful skills. Coming in at number 8, we have the man Venom. Now, one of his best values is actually as a striker, which you do not need him to be tier 3 for. You don't even need this uniform for the striking ability, but he's a fantastic character, and he's actually re-emerged as a very good ABX character for specific months. Specifically, I believe it's the Silence and Paralysis months. He can actually hit higher scores than Moon Knight, which is driving his value up, on top of being decent for Null, and then a great striker for whatever other content you're doing. Obviously, as a combat type, it's going to hurt his stock against Mephisto because he's Blast, but that's okay because he can still do other content well. Coming in at number 7, the Herald Thor. And I said it in November, we're hoping for Herald Thor, and boom, we got it. Thor is, I think, still kind of underrated. He's a really good character. He can do a lot of endgame content, squad battle, ABX, World Boss Ultimate, World Boss Legend, Stage 99 World Boss, etc. He's really great for all kinds of PvE content. A little bit difficult to play. Definitely takes some practice to master, and you have to really manage your skill cooldowns because of Cosmic Judgment. Really wish this cooldown was a little bit shorter, like 20 seconds or 19 seconds. But when you get his rotation to rock, he can crush Null. He's very good for that. Pairs really well with Beta Ray Bill, another excellent character. And he can do Mephisto. He can go all the way up to like stage 7 or 8 Mephisto right now for me, which is great. And the heal is invaluable. He would be so much worse for Mephisto and Null if he didn't have that heal. So that heal really counts. A 20% heal really extends his survivability big time. Coming in at number 6, like Thor, a character that we didn't know was going to get a buff at the time when I made that last video, Carnage. Excellent buff, healing, accumulation, all defense down, really nice iframes, really cool skills, and hits like a truck. Whether you're talking about World Boss Ultimate, World Boss Legend, ABX, that kind of content, he really does an excellent job. And I still think he's a little bit sort of like Thor, he's a little bit underrated. People kind of just forget. They're like, oh yeah, Carnage is in the game. And he hits like a truck, man. DRX, GBR, he'll catch you off guard, especially with Null's leadership. He gained a lot of value there, and he just slaps. He just absolutely slaps, and he pairs well with Null as well for the team up. Coming in now, we're doing top 5 here. Brand new top 5, Daredevil. Very interesting character. Good for PvE. I won't say he's like amazing god tier for PvE, although I put it in my titles. I know, a little bit of clickbait. I think he's good, very good for PvE. But where he's even better in is PvP. He's so good in PvP, one-shotting sentries with his counterattack. He's wild. He solos teams. He easily claps Jean Grey, and he does have the type advantage. The type advantage doesn't help him as much against Mephisto as I would have liked, but he can do something. Honestly, he might actually be better against Null than Mephisto because of the sonar sense giving him, or not the sonar sense, sorry, the radar sense giving him the ignore dodge. He's a really good all-around character, and he's in my top 5 because he's a really good like first or second tier 3 for a new account, because he'll be able to do all the content for you even with a very poor build. So I'm assuming these characters are at their max build, which is the PSA that I should have had at the beginning that I had in the last video. But even without a max build, right, or even with a mixed build, he can do all types of content because he combines tankiness and survivability and, you know, wicked damage and wicked effects. And he's very straightforward to play once you get the hang of it. Really good with a proc, with just a little bit of practice. Coming in at number 4, so top 4, Luna Snow. Now, I will say this about Luna Snow. She hasn't lost value, but if you don't care about squad battle and you don't care about ABX and you really care about World Boss Legend, she's dang near worthless. Yeah, She's not very good against Null. She's not very good against Mephisto. She can survive against Mephisto. She's got tons of healing, but she just doesn't pump out enough damage anymore. It's really bizarre. She just doesn't pump out enough damage to really make a dent like some of these other characters. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It seems like she should do more damage because she hits 10 million in ABX. She hits 10 million in squad battle, but then she doesn't. She just doesn't. She just doesn't do enough damage against Null. Doesn't do enough damage against Mephisto. Maybe it's because we've gotten used to always pairing White Fox with Luna Snow, and White Fox does so much to elevate Luna that when you take White Fox away, Luna starts to look kind of normal. She's still an amazing character, don't get me wrong, but again, if you don't care about squad battle and you don't care about ABX and you just play for the minimum score, minimum rewards, get in, get out, Luna's not your top 5. Luna's not in your top 5. She could get a new uniform at any time, but yeah, keep that in mind. However, if you care about squad battle and ABX, she's a god. Just straight up. And of course, if you play regular World Boss Ultimate, she's a god as well. 99 Ebony, easy peasy. 99 Corvus, 99 Cull Obsidian, she rocks. She's amazing for that, of course. No doubt. She's still very, very fast for GBR and other content. Maybe DRX she's not so good in, but yeah. So now we're into the top 3. We're going to have 1 brand new entry here and 2 returning guests. So you can probably guess who it is. Coming in number 3, Sharon Rogers. She actually got better with the Null buff to her tier 3 targeting, but she's still just amazing. Super high damage. She pairs now with Moonstone for squad battle, but she still is needed for that because she claps cheeks. She's just fantastic. And then coming in at number 1, I'm just going to skip ahead to this to cover this, Ghost Rider. I think Ghost Rider's still the best 800 CCF tier 3 just for how amazing he is, how high his burst damage is. He's definitely harder to play against Mephisto because of all the damage you take, but he does mitigate some of that with the fire immunity. However, it would be nice if he had a heal. If not, you have to basically pair him with Ancient One and Venom, or possibly just Venom. But yeah, his damage is just insane. He keeps up with 1600, 2500 CCF tier 3s. He keeps up with Null and Sentry because he's just 100% that dude, you know? King's Gaze, he's a king, 100%. So with that being said, that means Rogue is number 2. That's what I wanted to skip ahead and touch. I just want to skip ahead on Ghost Rider so I can come back to Rogue. Rogue is amazing. I do think she's underrated. You may disagree with me putting her so high, putting her ahead of Sharon Rogers, but she's basically almost as good as Sharon Rogers for PvE while also being amazing for PvP. Not quite as good as Daredevil for PvP, which kind of hurts her stock, but still, if she can do almost as well as Sharon and she's like top 10 for PvP, that's really something. That's really, really something. And she's amazing for Mephisto. She's so good for Mephisto, it's bonkers. Her survivability is off the charts. She's so tanky and she hits like a truck. And she's great for Null and she's great for a bunch of other world bosses. Such a good investment here, especially if you are building up to things like Null and Mephisto, because she can take them both down with her kit. Which is either, you know, ignore dodge here for 6 seconds, which is actually like 8 seconds because of her passive, and it's like 84%, or whether it's her being a speed type, literally clapping Mephisto's cheeks. She's by far, she goes to the highest stage of Mephisto for me. I'm able to clear stage 13 with her, with Mephisto. Oh, sorry, 14. Oh, no, sorry, 13. I did this today. She cleared stage 13 for me without even using a real... She used this team up and she clapped stage 13 with 4% pierce. She's so amazing, and it's the easiest run. She's so tanky. You're just going through the motions because Mephisto can barely touch you. Between her guaranteed dodge and her damage reduction and the cleanse from the leadership and her iframes and stuff, she's a total package. She's really, really good. If she had a little bit more damage, to be honest, she'd be better than Ghost Rider because she has way more survivability than he does, and she has way more value in PvP. But she's fantastic. She's my personal number 1. But I'll still put Ghost Rider ahead of her, and that's sort of how it is. So anyways, I was unable to make this video shorter than the last one. I apologize. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of my ranking, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.